I am Julie, and
I'm Martha.
this beautiful ride or die is my mother. We are owners of Tru Cakes Custom Cakes, and we are looking at showing you how to do a lot of different cake hacks and make amazing cakes and not be so afraid. The first thing that we've got going is, one, we have that Southern accent, so I hope you can understand that. We're gonna go through and we're gonna start with the base of our cake. The base of our cake is going to be, we have here a 1.5 cups of 100% vegetable oil. And then we have 2 cups of white granulated sugar. This is gonna be our base. So, Miss Martha, if you'll go ahead and add the oil and the sugar. We're gonna go ahead then, and while we're doing that, I'm gonna show you a little hack. First of all, we know that milk and eggs are super expensive. So what we do is we make our own buttermilk. So we're gonna take 1 cup of milk, and then we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of vinegar, and we're gonna add it to it, and we're gonna let it ferment for a while until we need it. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna incorporate the oil and the sugar right now. So let's go ahead and cut this on and let it do its thing. While that's happening, we are gonna take our flour. We're gonna take 3 cups of flour that we're gonna sift. We're gonna also sift it again with 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of powdered butter. Now, here's the thing, when you're looking for ingredients, I would say go to where the dietary needs are. There's Molly McButter, there's some different things that are powdered butter. In later episodes, I'll explain how you can switch that out for different ingredients, because in baking, your biggest thing is if you're gonna take something out, you have to put it back in. So keep in mind, if it's a liquid that you're taking out or adding, you want to keep them the same. If not, your cake may not make it. So I have already sifted our flour, and I'm going to go ahead and incorporate, again, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of the powdered butter. I'm just going to incorporate that in for now. We're going to take a look and see how everything is working with our oil and our sugar. It should have incorporated a good bit. Let me see. Let me look. Yellow's beautiful. You want just that milky white color. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna add in our eggs. Mom, if you want to put the eggs in, and we're gonna add another tablespoon of apple cider vinegar to this. Why? We want our eggs and our sugar to thicken up. Also, if you've ever made a science project, you can add baking soda and vinegar together and you get all kind of explosive fun. So we're gonna cut this back on. We're gonna let it do its thing. And there we go. We're gonna let that spin till it becomes a thick yellowish color. Now, let me see, what is that looking like? Let's cut this up just a little bit. You can't do any damage. The other fabulous thing about this recipe, people say, oh, you gotta watch. You gotta stay right there. You gotta time it. No, this is very forgiving. You got the kids and they're screaming and fighting, you can take a break, leave the cake mixing, go get them and come back. Don't stay gone forever, but you don't have to sit here and watch it. This may take a few minutes to get that consistency that you're wanting. Can you look and see if we've got it yet?
Just about, just a few more minutes.
Okay, so let's take a look. Got that perfect consistency of our eggs and oil mixture there. We're gonna now start incorporating our flour and we're gonna rotate it with our homemade buttermilk that we had made. So with this, let's go in and we're gonna do almost like a third. We're gonna take part of this and we're gonna go ahead and mix it in. I'm gonna take a little bit more in here. You don't have to be exact on anything, which is what's so amazing with this recipe. So we've got part of our buttermilk in here. We're gonna put it in here and we're gonna mix it up for a little bit. Now, it isn't any fun unless you got all this going on. You want that powder because you know it's doing its thing with all the flour. You don't have to mix it a lot. We're gonna take now and we're gonna use our spatula that we've got. Thank you, ma'am. We're gonna take it now and make sure that you get in there each time when you're adding the mixture of your milk and your flour, that you also take it down off the walls of your mixer. You wanna make sure it gets really good and incorporated before you add your next batch in. So we're gonna hold that here. We're gonna take and put some more in. The fun thing too is it doesn't have to be precise, but what I can tell you about this recipe is it's important to make sure you lay out all your ingredients. If not, you will have a mess. You will not quite have what you're looking for. It might taste good, but it's not gonna be a pretty girl at the party.
Hand me the spatula.
So we're gonna incorporate a little bit more, get that going. We're gonna go in and take our last little bit of flour. We're gonna put it in. And we're also gonna put our milk in. We're gonna wipe down the sides again. And this should be the last time until we add our fun strawberries and bananas. So we're gonna mix it until everything comes together, and then we're gonna add our strawberries, bananas, and you're gonna notice, we have not used a vanilla, which a lot of times you're gonna add vanilla in. We're gonna use a strawberry puree. So when we get to that, we'll have everything we need to complete our cake and then put them in our pans.
Is it doing good? Is it ready?
It's doing good, it's looking good. You wanna look at it?
Oh, that's
So
perfect.
what we want in the consistency that we have now, if you get in here and you look, you're gonna have a mixture very similar to this that we've got going on. That's what you're looking for. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in and incorporate our bananas and our strawberries. Now, another super great hack that I like. A lot of times I like to use freeze-dried fruits. Freeze-dried fruits, you can go in and you can put them in your mixer and chop them up into a powder and still have that consistency of your fruit, of your strawberry, bananas. You can do mangoes, any of those things. The reason why we like that is because moisture and fruits have lots of water in them. And when you do that, that changes the consistency of what we're looking to do. Remember in the beginning, we said whatever you take out, you need to replace with the same thing. So right now, we've got about 1.5 cups of fresh strawberries that we did. So we're gonna live on the wild side and we're gonna do that extra water in there and we're gonna mix it up. So we've added our strawberries. Now we're gonna incorporate these again. You're gonna watch them. You don't have to do it a long time. You just wanna incorporate it. Then we're gonna stop. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our bananas. The biggest thing about this is we're gonna taste some things. Every time you cook, you should taste what you make. Now, Miss Martha right here, she hates the thought of raw eggs and things. But here's what I'm gonna tell you. If you make it, you ought to taste it because you're not gonna know if your flavor profiles are together. I'm not saying drink it, but if you've got the pasteurized eggs in there, definitely taste what you're making. Because to me, I have to have my batter right before my cake will ever go in a pan. So now we got those lovely bananas. Now, here's another hack for people. Let's say you don't like eggs and you don't want to use eggs for whatever reason. You can use applesauce. So for 2 eggs, you can use 2/3 cup of applesauce, or you can use bananas in the place of eggs. There's lots of things to use, but sometimes it alters consistency. So again, think of using the applesauce next time. Also for sugar, another thing you can do is if you're trying to watch the sugar, use monk fruit. Monk fruit's amazing and it's a 1-for-1. And even if you want to try gluten-free, find a good gluten-free flour that is a 1-to-1 ratio for your flour. That way you get the same moisture, same texture, because what we're looking for is that soft, fluffy moisture cake when we're done. So let's get back to mixing up these bananas in here. Now, I'm gonna go around because I didn't realize I needed a workout, but I'm thinking when y'all see this, this is like, oh my gosh. It's down, now it's up. So let's cut it on. Silly me, I didn't need to do that. So now we're gonna mix our bananas and our strawberries. Again, the bananas will break down in here is what we're looking for. We can take it out. Now, what we're using is a strawberry puree. You can get that from a lot of different places. But I would say the strawberry puree is gonna be my substitute for the vanilla. I want that strawberry flavor to come out. I also want the banana and I want them to be balanced. So we're gonna add this in. It's about 2 ounces here. Now I really have to go do the Hercules thing. So we're gonna come back over here and I am going to pull it down and pull it back up to make sure it clicks, and we're gonna mix it. I would not mix it on anything more than a medium speed. We've got our consistency that we're looking for, so we're gonna stop. We're really gonna unload this now, and we're gonna get ready to put this in our pan. So give us a few minutes, we'll be right back and we'll show you how to bake these cakes off.
We're getting ready to put the batter in the pans now, and we're going to fill the pan only 3/4 full. Sometimes the batter goes all the way up and over the pan, so you have to be careful. We want nice layers, so we will go ahead and put it in about 3/4 full.
That's good.
All right, hand me the other one.
Ooh.
When we finish this and the cake is in the oven, we will start making our filling, which will be Italian meringue, and our icing, which will be a buttercream. Let's see, just about got it all. We're going to use all of this batter because we want these cake layers to be beautiful and even.
Here, let me get this part.
Yes, scoop the rest out.
So something to remember also, do not just throw your cake batter in a pan. Remember, you got to taste it. But another thing you want to do is you want to take your pan and you want to spray it with a really good no-stick spray, one that's got flour incorporated. Or you can make your own. You can take a little bit of shortening and flour, mix it together, put it all in your pan, and cut a parchment. This may seem like an extra step, but I can promise you, you'll be glad you did it later.
When we get through, we're going to beat the batter. We're going to take it and we're going to beat it like this.
Sounds like a good time.
Do you know why we're doing that? We're punishing it. We want no air bubbles. An air bubble in the cake becomes a hole in your cake. So when it's through and you cut it, your cake has beautiful little bubbles all in your cake.
No
we don't want
explosions.
that.
So what are we going to cook these at?
We're going to cook, I believe the oven is at 325 now, and we will cook it approximately 30 minutes. Now it will depend on your oven. Lots of ovens are not calibrated like a commercial oven, so you have to watch it. After your first cake, if you find out the edges are not like you want them, they're too done, you have to turn the temperature down. Then cook it slower, and it will be perfect every time.
So low and slow. Let's go cook these in. We're going to cook them again for about 30 minutes. We'll see you in a little bit.
We're going to be making Italian meringue. First, we're going to make a sugar water, which will be 5.5 ounces of water. Whoa, my pot's hot. And the sugar. Oh God, I'm burning my hand.
Oops, don't get it too hot. Lesson 1, be careful.
This mixture will have to boil until it's 250 degrees.
So what we're using is a thermometer, a digital. It makes your life so much easier versus the old thermometers. So we're gonna take it, we're gonna insert it in on here, and this will beep once everything has come to that 250 degrees. Your sugar water is kind of coming to like a candy consistency, because when we add it to our Italian meringue on here, which we're fixing to add to this mixer, and one of the things before we do this is we're gonna take everything off, because meringue is a funny animal. When you do an Italian meringue, you don't want any water or any oils in your pan. We're gonna take a vinegar water, and we're going to put it on a paper towel. Once we do that, we're just gonna do a little bit on here to make sure we get all these excess oils off. So make sure you get it good on there. If not, your meringue will not turn out. And you don't want to take all the time to do this and then it not come out for your fabulous cake. So just go in, get it really good. Now we're waiting for our sugar to go. We're already up to 229 degrees, so we'll be done really quick. we're gonna put our whisk attachment. We've got our mixer ready. We've already cleaned everything. We're gonna add 1 cup of aquafaba. Now, to get your aquafaba, you want to take chickpea juice. You're gonna get you enough chickpea juice to be 1 cup. Actually, you want about a 1.5 cup, and you want to heat it and reduce it down to 1.5 cups. This is a substitute in our meringue for the eggs. This is gonna be an eggless Italian meringue on here. So we're gonna go ahead and put that here. We are gonna also add 5 tablespoons of a cream of tartar. So our cream of tartar will go in here with it. Mama, you need me to help you with that?
Please, ma'am.
Okay, so tell us what we're doing with this fabulous
We're going
syrup.
to take the Karo syrup and you just pour a little bit into our sugar water. If you don't do that, you'd be surprised when you get ready to take this out, the sugar will have crystallized in here and you can't do anything with it.
So you're gonna use what, about
probably, well, maybe about a tablespoon of the Karo syrup into our water and sugar mixture.
And also another little tidbit. I love the tidbit so you don't mess up. Once you've got your sugar water going and you've got that Karo in it, you will have a tendency to want to stir it. Do not touch it, just let it do its thing. Because what will happen is you will move all the crystals around and then it will not form correctly. You can take a paintbrush. A lot of times I take a paintbrush that I only use for this and put it in some water, and you can push the crystals down that are going up to the side of the pot. So what we're gonna do while we're waiting for this to come up to 250 is we're gonna go ahead and with our meringue that we have with our aquafaba and our cream of tartar, we're gonna go ahead and start whipping it. And we'll be right back when our sugar comes to temp.
When our water and sugar came to 250 degrees, it was ready. In the meantime, this was making our fluffy filling for it, and it's the meringue, the aquafaba, everything is in here. Now I am going to be adding the sugar water, which is extremely hot, into this mixture.
You want to be super careful when you're doing this or you will burn yourself. So take, and I do not recommend pouring it into glass, take a plastic measuring cup or something that will be easy for you to use that will not melt or explode. We're gonna take this and slowly, you're gonna keep your mixture on very slow. This will seem like it takes an eternity. So we thought maybe we'll tell you a fun story while we're doing this. Keep it again at low because you do not want this hot sugar water to go on you. And when I'm talking slow, we want it to barely be going. And so do it very slow. If not, you'll have it all mixed together and you'll have a candy glob. So you definitely want, again, keep it slow. So I'm gonna cut it for a minute. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna pull it up a little bit higher. And we're gonna work it this way. So while we're doing that, a funny story is, how did we even start all this? So Mama, tell them about our beginnings way back in the country.
Julie and I are lifetime partners. I'm the mother, she's the daughter. So when she was born, we became partners. And we have done everything her whole life together. She was raised on a chicken farm and eggs. And being in the country, we did everything from scratch. There was nothing you went to the store and bought. She made everything. So we baked, and my mother-in-law and my grandmother had wonderful recipes. So when we left the farm, we went into insurance. And after 35 years, we were all burned out. So one day she woke up and she said, you know, Mama, we need a new vocation. I said, okay, what you want to do? She says, well, we've been doing cakes and desserts all our life. Let's start a bakery. Doesn't that sound easy? Well, not, because you have to have different pans for everything. You have to have all of these design things, and you have to be smart. Well, we were smart until we weren't. So then we started learning everything. And we have evolved over the years to what we have become. We do lots of weddings. We do any kind of culture, ethnic things. We can do that. And our reputation is what we make. If it's not good, then we have no reputation. So they come to our place of business and have tastings and get to taste what we have made. We pride ourselves that everything is homemade. We use no plastic toys. We use nothing that is not homemade. Everything is natural ingredients, no cake mixes, no icing mixes. We do it by hand. And we hope everybody that comes back. Because if your products are good, your customers will come. So your reputation in whatever you do is you.
Our biggest thing is we don't want to say no. If you want us to create something, we're like little chemists in the kitchen. Bring it to us or let us know. We'll give you some really crazy ideas and maybe they'll work, maybe they won't, but we'll just keep trying until we get it right. Speaking of getting it right, so we've got our sugar already poured into our meringue. What we have to do now, it's a weight game. If you feel the bottom of this bowl, it's a little warm. Actually, it's hot. We're gonna have to keep mixing this until it cools down, okay? So invest some time in that. When we get ready to add our butter, if we put it in now, it will melt and we will have a sloppy mess and it's awful. So we want you to be able to make it right the very first time. So we will come back in a few minutes. We're gonna check our cakes. They're almost done, but we're gonna come back and we're gonna show you the other American buttercream that we're gonna make. So our Italian meringue will be filled with fresh pineapple to go with our banana split, and then our buttercream will be a buttercream that we put on the outside. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. So what we've done is we've gotten our meringue and it's gonna look like this. Once it looks like this, we're gonna switch attachments. We're gonna take a paddle attachment now. We're gonna put this little baby in here because it's a test. It's a test to see if it's gonna go in there for me because it just wants to be challenging. So once we conquer that, we're gonna put this paddle on here. Now, also what has happened is this has cooled off, which is what you want. Remember, if it's not cooled off, it will melt our butter and we will have soup. So now that it's nice and cool and fluffy, we're gonna start adding our butter and our shortening. We have, how much, Mama? How much butter?
4 sticks of butter.
Okay, so what we have is a high fat content shortening on there, and it has no animal byproducts in it. And then we have our butter. We're gonna take these, we're gonna add them in. I'm gonna go ahead and take my butter. We're not gonna add everything at the same time because we wanna incorporate slowly for this. And while that's happening, I wanna tell you the story of why we even do this aquafaba Italian meringue. So what happened is during COVID, eggs were so very expensive and we had a hard time getting all the eggs we needed for our Italian meringue. Part of our clients don't like eggs and most of our clients don't like sticky sweet. A lot of times an American buttercream is too sweet. So back to using the aquafaba. One batch of our Italian meringue was taking 45 egg whites. That was killing us financially and we couldn't even find eggs half the time. So what we started doing is we do a lot of South Asian work with clients for all of their events, and we were making an aquafaba meringue for them. We decided, after looking at costs and expenses, let's just make this for all of our clients. So me and Miss Martha here, we're doing a wedding show, and we tried it out on all of the clients coming in sampling different cake options. And they were thinking it was amazing. So we knew then, after about 300 people that were coming and seeing this, that we could just stick with this, cut our costs, and have an amazing filling for our clients. So now we've got, if we look now, you can see that it's starting to get more of a soupy texture. Don't get excited. This is where people start to throw this Italian meringue out, and this is where you need to stop and not do that, because we're gonna keep, again, incorporating the butter and the shortening for here until we've got everything in place. And it's gonna end up being a thick, smooth, amazing meringue. We got this, we're gonna continue, let's add the other. It doesn't have to be fast, you just wanna make sure when you're looking in the bowl, you don't have lots of chunks going everywhere. Chunks are not good. And again, it will loosen up. So do not get excited and think that you've messed this up. Most people that we talk to, or even if you look at cooking shows, a lot of times you'll see that it always just turns out perfect. Or you find out, oh, it's soup. You just hadn't mixed it enough. You've got to just keep going, whip faster, and it will be perfect. It may take you 10, 15 minutes. Don't be a quitter. Just keep at it. All right, so we've almost got all of this in here. We've also got our vanilla that we'll add. Now here's the time too, if you've got other flavorings that you want to put in there, you could do vanilla, you could do lemon, you could do a little lemon zest in there, it'd be super amazing. But since we're doing that strawberry banana split, we want to keep it all together in that same palette. So we're gonna take and we're gonna add our vanilla in. Now, we've got our pineapple. If you can grab me the crushed pineapple. We took a can of crushed pineapple, and a lot of times we do something called a drunken pineapple. We didn't do it this time, but we don't want the wet. If you remember in the beginning, we said try to stay away from all that wet on there because it will affect your batter. We took our pineapple, we strained it, we dried it out, squeezed it out, dried it on paper towels. So we want a texture very similar to this. We don't want to see all the juice in it. We want it to look like little shaved pieces. Another thing that you can actually do too is, remember we talked about freeze-dried fruits. Here's the opportunity to go crazy with all your flavor palettes. You can take blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, raspberries, whichever one you want. But again, remember, we're working on our banana split. So we're gonna take our pineapple and we're gonna put our pineapple in here. Just make sure you get all the water out of that, all the juice. Save that juice for something else. We're gonna mix it all in.
More vanilla.
Here, let's grab a little spoon or a knife. So let's taste it, because again, remember, you gotta taste the batter, you gotta taste everything. And it's time. That's good.
Perfect.
If you find that you want a little bit more flavor in it, or it may be a little sweet, take a little bit of salt, a teaspoon or so, put it in, it'll be amazing. So that completes our Italian meringue, and now we're gonna take our cakes out of the oven, we're gonna cool them, and we're gonna get busy on our American buttercream. So we'll be back in just a few. Hey, so we're back and we've gotten our cakes out of the oven. They're currently cooling. We have made our Italian meringue, which is super yummy. We let everybody try it, and it was so, so good. So I can't wait to put it on the cake. But what we have to do now is we've got to make our American buttercream. So, Miss Martha, we got everything?
We've got everything right here. All we need now is to start making it.
All right, so what do I want to mix first?
We're going to make our butter and our margarine. Usually 1 stick of margarine and 1 stick of butter. And it makes it not quite as rich.
All right, so what we're doing too is, remember, we're used to making huge batches of this, but we wanted something that you'd be able to make at home. And it may seem like a lot, so when we make this, if you have leftovers, you can always take those and they will stay good for probably about 3 weeks. So you can send cake and buttercream off to the kids. We're gonna take right now, we're gonna take all of our butter, which we have got a total of how much? 2 sticks of butter.
2 sticks of butter.
And how much shortening?
We have 1 pound and 4 ounces. So
now remember, again, you want a high fat content to our shortening because that'll make a difference toward the end. We're gonna take all of this now and we're gonna put it in and we're gonna blend it all together. I know, it seems like a lot. So this is considered American buttercream. And when we're doing cakes, again, we're not real big fans of sticky sweet, but what we have tested through the case on which buttercreams to use where. In Florida, we have lots and lots of humidity, lots of sun. However, when you're baking, things do not tend to hold up. You have to make accommodations, just like if you are in a higher altitude. Ovens bake different on there. Different recipes come out different. So we went in and we tested this buttercream actually in 98 degrees of Florida fabulousness. It held its shape, the Italian meringue and the American buttercream. Also, if you think about something, if you've ever watched people eat cake, they do something very strange. In eating cake, you have those people that like to eat from the buttercream into the cake, and those people who like to eat the cake out and leave buttercream. This way, each person can eat their cake however they want. Since the whole goal is eat more cake, you decide. You can have the sticky sweet, or you can do the Italian meringue not so sweet. This works really well in all of our events too, because we get to study people and how they actually eat cake, how they eat desserts, what they like. And if you can find a happy mix, like my family, they're all half and half. They want it very, very sweet, and some want not sweet at all. This makes everybody happy. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna get all of our butter and our shortening mixture, and we're gonna get that where it's super duper smooth. You want it smooth before you ever start to add your powdered sugar to this. Now, also, I wanna control the sweetness. So we're gonna take, what do we have on the saltwater mixture?
On this, it is 1 ounce of water and about not even a half an ounce of salt. And what you do is you put it in the microwave and heat it up till it is boiling. And that way the salt is all melted and it goes in to mixture fine. And then we have vanilla that we have to add that, and that's about a half a teaspoon.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add half of this now and half later. If you notice, we're not gonna add a lot of water to this buttercream. Why? We want it to hold its shape. So we've got this all mixed together. We want to mix everything down. It looks like it's mixed together really well. And if you want to take a look, you want it very smooth. So you can see in here our consistency, super duper smooth. We're gonna now go in and we're gonna add we're gonna use a total of what, 4 pounds of powdered sugar?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna divide that in half. We're gonna incorporate low and slow. We're gonna incorporate 2 pounds, and then we're gonna go back and we're gonna add our salt, the rest of the salt water, and I'm gonna go ahead now and add our vanilla in here too. You've got about, how much was that? A tablespoon?
Of vanilla? Mm-hmm. A quarter.
Okay, so you've got your vanilla that's there, but you can also use, this is a time if you want to use cream cheese, if you want to use any other type of flavoring, now's the time to go in and do it. We're gonna lower this a little bit. Now, understand, when you put this powdered sugar in here, it's gonna blow all over the place. You got several choices. Take yourself a towel, wrap it around, or wear black like me and be wearing it, because that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna do our best not to spray it all over this kitchen. If you do it low and slow, we're gonna get a consistency. Yeah. All right, we're gonna put the paper towels over and hope for the best. There it goes. See that?
See it sifting out?
Watch it jump. Oh, there it goes.
Powdered sugar clouds.
We're gonna need some more paper towels here. But that lets somebody know you made it from scratch. So, it's all right. So we're gonna continue mixing this until we've incorporated all of our powdered sugar in there, and we'll come back and show you the final product. See you in a little bit. Hey, so we're back. Mom's got our fabulous Italian pineapple meringue that's gonna go on our cake. We have finished up our American buttercream that we've got. And what we want, if you see this, the consistency is this smooth, whipped Italian. I'm sorry, we're not doing Italian. This one's the American buttercream. But this lets me know that I'm gonna be able to smooth this onto the cake and get that glass finish of what I'm looking for. So what we did is we torted our 2 8-inch cakes. Now, some hacks. I just saw on Instagram where Dan did this amazing thing. He took his 8-inch pan, he put in 5 of these little cake boards that gave him 1 inch. When it was in there, he took his whole cake and sliced it straight in half. Me, I'm a horrible cutter. I cannot draw straight, I can't cut straight. We have a cutter that we use to make these absolutely perfect. You can also keep the whole layers together. I just like the aesthetics of what a cake, the finished look, is whenever I've got 4 layers and 3 layers of filling. It gives me a lot of room to play with, to get creative with the different fillings in there. So how we're gonna get started, let these 2 piping tips be your friend. I have a big fat round one because I need something to guide me. And then I've got a star tip that we're gonna use to finish off with our chocolate covered strawberries. So to get started, what I want to do, oh, don't let me forget. I use a 5-inch scraper. Now I also I love being Bob the Builder. I love going to the hardware department. Get one of those scaffolding things that people use for concrete or whatever. Use that. It's amazing. It's got a big handle and it's not as expensive as going out and buying something that's $20 to scrape. I love using those type of products. So what we're gonna do to layer these out, I have got, with my parchment paper, these are my bottoms. These are my tops. I've just flipped them over. I have got me a cake board and I put me some bubble wrap underneath. A great thing to keep it from slipping is the no slip. You can buy it again in any hardware store. You can go to, a Walmart, a Target, anywhere like that, and shelf liner works amazing. I don't want this cake slipping. This one might slip a little bit, but I'm gonna hold it in place. So how we wanna get started with this is we wanna take part of our buttercream and we're gonna take this and we're gonna put it all on our cake board. The reason why we're wanting that is I don't want this bad boy to slip on off and fall to the floor before I get it to my cake stand. So let's make sure we've got plenty there. You can be generous with it if you want. If you think it may go somewhere and you don't want it, put more on there. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna take my bottom. And a lot of times what I do for cakes is people go, oh, I never freeze my cake. We don't freeze our cake, but I like taking the cake once I've torted it or cut it, and I like putting it in the freezer. And the reason why is I don't like the crumbs. You can go and ice a cake and you end up finding tons of crumbs in it and it really stinks. So I'm a fanatic about that. As less crumbs as I can get, the better it is. Now, remember this round tip? This is my guide. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put up a dam. I don't want my stuff in the middle flowing out to the edge because I've gotta keep those smooth lines going when we get there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my American buttercream and I'm gonna do my dam. That also, I've got a weird thing about aesthetically how things look. When you cut into this cake, you want it to be amazing and beautiful. If you wanted, for instance, more color, this is all natural, but when we did our strawberries, if you use a freeze-dried fruit, you're gonna get more of that vibrant strawberry color that you want. You can also use a little pink food coloring if you want, but I wanted you to see the different options that you had and how the whole deal for you eating more cake could be your own creation. So what we've got is we've got our dam. That's gonna hold my stuff in. We're gonna turn around, we're gonna take that Italian pineapple that we did, we're gonna take it in. Another thing that I love to use is I'm a big fan of ice cream scoops. Ice cream scoops can guide you all the way into whatever you need to do. We're gonna take this now because it's so smooth. And we're gonna take it all the way out to our dam. We want to make sure that all of that is right up to there. Again, that's gonna create even layers of filling. And I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna just sort of smooth all those rounds into it to make it just exactly how I want it. I'm gonna go in now. I've got, remember, my 2 bottoms. I'm saving the first one for the very bottom layer, and then I'll save this one for my top layer. Now, here's the hard pearl fact here. Cake is ugly. It's ugly, all right? So take those ugly pieces and let's go down. Let's turn them upside down and have them down into our meringue, and then we're gonna repeat. So we're gonna repeat what we just did until we get to our top layer. We're gonna keep it moving, and we will be right back, and we'll show you how to ice the rest of your cake with your chocolate covered strawberries. We'll be right back. So what we've got now is we've gone ahead, we've put all of our layers on here, and that same lovely famous tip, that round tip that we used to dam things up, I'm gonna go around here while Vanna, Miss Martha, my mama, goes ahead and slowly spins this so it doesn't just go cray-cray. I am gonna take this and I am gonna go on the bottom first, and I'm gonna go spin, Martha, spin, we're gonna go in and we're gonna fill this in. Why? Because it's easier than doing it the other way. And unless you want carpal tunnel, you can, but this is easy. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna get up to the next one. Go, 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 go. We're gonna keep spinning, get it done, hold up. There you go, till we've got it filled in. You especially wanna go and take those places where we have got a little bit of room here. Definitely fill that damn part in because I don't want any crumbs escaping. I wanna get this on here and make sure that I'm not gonna have extra work. Because you know, it's for the family. You want it to be beautiful and amazing, but you don't wanna kill yourself doing it. So what we've got pretty much, yes, we've got a few spots that are in there, but what I want to do is I'm gonna now go in. The consistency of this American buttercream is smooth. That's what I want on this cake because I've got another hack I'm gonna show y'all to make sure your cake is smooth. These little pieces here, I'm just gonna take some of this buttercream on here. I'm gonna fill them in because I don't wanna fill up this bag again, actually. I'm just being lazy, but that's just how it works. So I'm gonna take this, get those filled in, put a little bit more. And buttercream too is all about putting on and taking off. There's no easy way to do it. Every once in a while you can get lucky and get it on the first time. After I got this on here, I'm gonna again take, I don't wanna do the whole top. The top starts to defrost a little bit or it gets cold and then the first thing that happens is you've got crust coming off. What you wanna do is now take a good bit of buttercream. You wanna take it and just run little pieces around this edge because what's gonna happen is when we take our smoother, we're gonna push that buttercream up and then we're gonna push it toward the center of the cake. We do not want to, and I'll show you a boo-boo in a second. If I take this with a little bit of buttercream and I start hitting this cake like this, look what I'm getting. You don't want any of that. That's not good. So, let's get this. Let's wipe that off because we don't want those crumbs in the cake. You wanna be light and just run it around these edges. Okay. So while we're doing this again, think about how you want your end product to be. Do you just want some old plain cake? What do you do with it once it gets there? Well, there's several ways you can decorate this cake once we get to that point. If you've got a fork, grab a fork. You got a spoon, grab a spoon. We'll show you some little fun ways to be able to do that. So now what I'm gonna do is I wanna stay at almost like a 40-degree angle. If I go straight up at 90 and I dig in, I'm gonna take all my buttercream off. So have a light touch. Start at that 45-degree angle and you're gonna smooth it. You can also take a look at that. That's what you kind of want. See how it's starting to smooth out? Also, when I take buttercream off of this, I don't have crumbs in it. That's super important. I like to often keep a separate bowl too. So I've got one that's clean and one that I can put some crumbs in because there's always a use for that. So let's go back and we're gonna smooth it out. And if you notice, you start seeing it and it's starting to kind of take shape. It's looking kind of cool. We got a few holes we need to fill in. This buttercream I've got up here, let's take it and run it across these edges for a minute. Because again, if we don't have to waste any, we don't want to do that. So now, I've got some holes in here. I'm gonna take the buttercream and I'm gonna lightly just fill in these little holes. We're gonna smooth it out in a second, but let's fill them all in. Because it's not gonna get smooth unless we do fill some holes. And I want this cake to be smooth so I can mess it up and show you how to use a fork on it. The other thing that you can be thinking of too is how do I want this to look when I slice it? Most people go in and slice pie shapes. I think that's kind of a no-no. You always have more people than what you planned on. You figure you can only get, I don't know, 8, 9 slices out of this. Somebody's not getting cake. I can show you a way where you can get more cake because this is a tall, pretty cake. We're gonna keep smoothing on here until we get it where we want it. Okay, so it's starting to take real shape. I've only got a couple of places that I'm gonna add a little bit more buttercream to for the whole sake, and then we'll be good to go. We'll only have to deal with our top. Now, do not think that this isn't gonna take you a minute. This usually takes me the longest whenever I'm at home. Well, not at home. When we're in the bakery and we're doing this for a cake, I spend more time doing this right here than I do almost anything else. And that's because if I leave holes and I go to decorate, it won't take a decoration on it. So we've got this pretty much how we want it. We're gonna now go in and fill in the top for here. See how we've got these little edges all up top? We're gonna take those and let's take another at an angle. Let's take our spatula and let's just pull it up. It's kind of like bloop, bloop, get those edges in there. Just pull it off and constantly go and take it back off. The reason why I'm not putting it all in the middle yet is, again, if I've got this edge kind of smooth, all I have to do is use the outline of what I've already got here to get that consistent and smooth. So make less work for yourself. So we've got a little in here that I'm talking about filling in. Now, remember, we're gonna decorate the top of this with those chocolate covered strawberries. So I ain't gotta be totally exact if I don't want to. I can get it as smooth as I want. Now look how it's smoothing out. That's what you want. You want those smooth edges in here. You don't want any holes up top. You can be as finicky as you want to with that. Now, we're gonna let this go for right now because I'm gonna show you another hack. Maybe it's not perfect. In the cake world, it's never gonna be absolutely perfect. Only you know it's not. So what we're gonna do when we come back is I'm gonna show you how to use a paper towel hack that'll make this perfect. We'll be right back. Okay, so what we've got now, we're gonna kind of smooth this out. It does not have to be perfect, but this is a Viva paper towel. You can get them in any store, but cake designers love these things because they do magic. If you have a smoother, you can take this and you will smooth your cake. Take the smooth side. I'm gonna do it with my hand because why go and buy a whole bunch of stuff if you don't have to? But you wanna take this and you're gonna take it lightly on the palm of your hand and your fingers and you're just gonna sort of smooth all this out. So while you're doing it, you can also take your hand up and that edge that you've got, come up and do the crease of the edge. If you do like me and get it on your finger, boop, don't worry about it because we're gonna smooth that out too. But you can see how it starts to smooth everything out on here. You're not having a bunch of lumps and different things here. So that's one way you can do this. On my top, I'm gonna go ahead, smooth it out on here. And I'm not too worried about the rest of it being smooth because I told you I was gonna show you some other little tricks that you can do. So half of this fabulous cake is gonna look raked with a fork, one's gonna look raked with a spoon, and then one is gonna be done with a knife. So it does not have to be perfect. Nobody knows it's not perfect but you. And you can make up a new name for whatever it is that you're doing if you want, because it's your cake. You're gonna eat more cake and have fun with it. So this part, what I'm fixing to do is I'm gonna take a fork. So on the fork, we wanna keep even pressure. So if I'm starting over here, I don't wanna dig into it like I'm fixing to eat it, but I want not a very light touch, but about medium way in because we got a bunch of buttercream on there. I'm gonna take this and I can do it like this. I can go back and do it this way. I am intentionally creating this look. Okay? Now, you've got your buttercream on here that maybe some edges are sticking up. Take that soft side again and just smooth it down just a little. Go lightly because you don't want to get rid of the imprint that you did. You can smooth it down and it's looking more rustic. You can go in also and let's take your knife. Your knife, let's go up a little higher. We'll go start right here. So on here, I can start with this. You're gonna keep it smooth and we're gonna go ahead and mess up our other side so you can get the idea. We can constantly spin this with an even amount of pressure. And now, I've got a whole nother look if I'm wanting to do that. Now, finally, we've got a little bit of room left on our cake. You can also go in and do a spoon. We're gonna do C marks all over it because you know, it's your deal. You can make it look any kind of way you want. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna make it look rustic. We're gonna find all this in here. We're gonna whip it all up. We're gonna even do our top because you know, we love making C's. C's are all over this. It's looking intentional. I've got it going in different directions. It almost looks like it's on purpose. But keep your C's going. don't worry. If you can't get a cake smooth, don't die. It is not the end of the world. It is your cake. Do it any kind of way you want. Okay? So those are a couple of ways. If I want to, again, I can go and I can rake my top. Because again, I can do any kind of design I want. We're gonna eat more cake and have fun with it. So now we've got this fabulous cake. It's our creation. We're gonna top it with chocolate covered strawberries. Remember that other tip I gave you? You like that?
We have to come back. Yes, I think that you have a variety here. So your cake is elegant and it's messy. So it's easy to do.
The tip that I gave you before was the round and the star tip. This little star tip, what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna make me just some little rosettes. I'm gonna do 4 of these on here, and it doesn't matter if they're not the same size. How about that? Now, I've got me 5 little rosettes. We're gonna come back in just a second and we're gonna put the strawberries on there and we're gonna close this thing up. We'll be right back. So let's finish this cake off strong. We have taken some strawberries. We have dipped them in a dark Belgian chocolate. We're gonna now, there are little swirls that we did on there. We're gonna take our strawberries and we're just gonna push down on them. We're gonna push them into the buttercream that we've got here because we just want it to be pretty. And let's finish it off. Now, I'm all about glitter and color. You've got this excess here. Glitter is a girl's best friend or a guy's best friend if you're giving it to a friend. You can also take some fresh basil for greenery and put some basil on there. Just roll them up a little bit, chop them, and sprinkle it on there. It'll be absolutely amazing. So, there's only one thing left to do at this point. What you think?
Let's eat the cake.
You want me to cut cake?
Absolutely.
Let's cut cake. That's how we know for sure. Now, I told you I was going to tell you a little trick about slicing cake. I like to slice cake in an L shape. So we're going to do an L shape here. We'll just give you one of them big old fat slices.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you can eat all this. And then we're going to get the camera crew over here and they can get some too. Because it wouldn't be fun to watch somebody cooking all day and not eating anything. I need you to hold the bottom for me. So we have your cake, all yummy, yummy. So we also have in here where you can see inside, because remember we said that we wanted it to be pretty. Here's the rest of your cake. I left it there. So we want to have our slices to our buttercream to be almost even on there. So then it can be pretty inside and outside. We appreciate the time of hanging out with you guys and showing you how to eat more cake. And we want you to keep in mind, if you have any questions, you can hit us up at our website, which is Tru Cakes, TRU-Cakes, or you can hit us up on Instagram. You can look for Tru Cakes, look for our amazing logo, or you see our beautiful faces. Either way, you can hit us up on either of those. We look forward to seeing you soon and eat more cake.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.